to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? This is your new American perspective for this week. I'm your host, Jineea Butler, and I've got my co-host,
A.B. Butler.
We in the house today. How are you? How have you been? Tap in and let us know where you're hitting from around the world. Looking forward to hearing from you all in the chat on YouTube, on Facebook, on Horizon TV, on Apple TV. We are all over the globe, but let's talk about what's happening this week. So we know President Trump, he's been out here doing a whole bunch. He's been doing a lot. Okay, we must all say that President Trump has been out here executive ordering everything, to the 10th power. But how are you feeling about his move? So we know that he's got the National Guard in Washington, D.C. Now, Judge Jeanine Pirro, she comes on Instagram or her social media maybe once a week and tells us about all the new arrests that the National Guard is making. But couldn't the regular police do this job, Attorney Pirro, because it just seems like you're pushing the envelope saying that we need more work, we need to clean up the streets. And I believe that we need to clean up the streets, and we don't necessarily have to step back, but maybe we have to take a new approach to it. What's your thoughts on it? Where's the G check on there?
Well, first of all, shout out to Washington, D.C. Donald Trump, let me send you a message. D.C. is not the place to be messed with, man. You from Queens, you from New York. D.C. is not the place. Once you aggravate them little time bombs, they gonna show you who they are. They don't care about putting them behind the walls and stuff like that. They've been through it, Donald. So I'm just saying to you is, why we keep targeting the Black communities? You understand? We understand what's going on, but to straighten the problems out, y'all really know what the problem is. The problem is feed the people. Let the people eat. Give them good jobs. Let them take care of their family. Y'all just want to keep taking, locking up. But y'all really not helping the problem. You get where I'm coming from? That's a deep check.
And so I say, and I agree, but I also agree that we need to clean up our communities, and we need our kids to understand that you need to be the smartest in the world right now. Time is up, right? So time is up for playing in the streets for the young kids, but how do we get that message across without them doing 20 years in jail, without them running into 7 years, right away? We've got to stop them from going at this administration as if this is something that you could do.
This is a G check. If you want to stop anything, you get where I'm coming from? Anything. Y'all know what y'all need to do. Put the money in the community. You say clean up the community, but you bring the other people in there, then they clean it up, then they act like it's their community. So it's like it's no respect no matter however you look at it, because you got people that look like us in communities. They don't even want us in them communities. So when is you going to straighten that out? We always focus on us, but they always the problem.
Okay, I agree, but our numbers are still horrible in these communities, and we don't need to be killing each other, and we don't need to be raising a flag saying that's what we're going to do.
This is a G-check. This is a G-check. Let me say this. If you're not on that corner, you're not on that block, you don't know who's killing who. The cop could always change out that blue uniform and put on a red rag, a blue rag, and do the dumb stuff. And then they say, oh, it was a shootout in the black community. Come on. Listen, people, I always say this. Open your mouth, open your ears, open your eyes. Stop running your mouth and just look, pay attention. It's a lot of dirtiness going on, but everybody always talk about, oh, the black community shooting one another, but it's a lot of dirty, filthy, petty cops out here. So we don't know what's going on unless you out there on that block. So they want numbers.
Yeah,
They play dirty.
Yes, they are playing a numbers game right now.
Yeah, they play dirty. So that's a G check.
It's not dirty. We're telling you we're coming in. So that means clean your act up. Do you have to keep running the streets? Do you have to keep doing that? Is that the way of the world? Do you have to keep doing that?
It ain't have to do nothing. The key thing is your mother survived for you out there on that block. So they want. What is that?
What?
Wow.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just hearing the echo of my voice.
I was trying to share us on Facebook. So it was you. But go ahead.
No, that's it.
You were saying that, listen, they're on the block. Yes, they're on the block. And this is a G check, right? This is a government check. We talk about the G check being all these different things. Well, this is a government check. And the government check is they're coming in, right? So don't be silly. So get your act together now. Now, I know that the other things need to happen, but you don't need to go to jail. None of us need to go to jail on behalf of this. Look at our boy Puff. Our boy Puff is locked up. October 3rd, Puffy will be standing for his sentence on October 3rd. So what do we think about that? Do we think that
let me say, shout out to Puff, free Puff, right? Let me say this, right? They use Puff to do all these, put these funny bills in, and we so caught up on, oh, Puff this, Puff that. But at the end of the day, we so focused on our man, my man, they putting these bills in office and we just getting rocked to sleep every moment worrying about this man's case. And you got other people that look not even looking just like him, doing worse things than this man. But guess what? We need a distraction. Puff was a distraction for all these slick bills in there. Come on. That's a G
check. That's a G check, a very big one. And we've got to be able to recognize when that is happening, how that is happening, and why it is happening, and act accordingly. Now, so we know in New York that we still have the mayor's race in New York. That's still heating up and going crazy. You have Governor Cuomo looking for Donald Trump to now reach out to him and help him win in New York and tell all the Republicans to vote for them. The Mayor Adams needs between 500,000 and 1 million people, probably more, to vote for him. There was 400,000. They won 400,000 votes, won in the Democratic primary. But now in the general election, you have everybody else voting. You have the Republicans, you have the Democrats, you have everybody voting in the general election. And Mom Dami is still ahead by 44%. Now, should we all be going crazy? I'm not sure. Okay.
But why?
He talks a good talk. But the facts are the facts about what socialism is and does to communities.
It's a G check, Gus. It's like we worrying about, once again, abstraction. We worrying about the mayor race, but we not concerned about this dude, Donald Trump. We not concerned about him. We could talk about him all day long, but at the end of the day, the man's rocking us to sleep every day. Cause they'll say, oh, the mayor this, the mayor, oh, this and that. But guess what? He's signing more bills to destroy us. But we focus on that. We not talking about that. We talking about the dude that want to become the mayor. We talk about Eric Adams. We talk about Puff Daddy. We talk about this person, Weinstein. The man is dead. So at the end of the day, y'all can't charge that man. What y'all gonna do? Bill him up, take him out the grave? You already hung the man. You already hung the man. So now you're still talking about, oh, bring the records, bring the file up, we want to know who's on there. For what? The man is gone. Even though if Donald Trump in there, don't matter. Look, once again, G check, 34 felonies before he got in the White House, 34 convictions before he got in the White House, and got some more waiting on him. So at the end of the day, people, the world, global, pay attention. Pay attention. That's a warning, G check warning.
Definite G check. Now, let's also look into the fact that Donald Trump just signed the executive order in Washington, D.C., banning the cashless bail. Now, many can argue that the cashless bail can go back and forth. I don't know how you feel about it. My perspective on this cashless bail is that, I think that it's still by situation. I don't think that everybody can go in there and say, well, you got to cash this bail for that. You just robbed the bank and now you got to cash this bail. You just bust this old woman over ahead. Now you got to cash this bail. All you got to do is go see the judge and we're going to trust that you're going to come back to court. That's not going to happen. Let's be really serious about that. Most people are probably not coming back to court, and that what we're not hearing about it. So now what he does, he signs this executive order reversing that, right? This is something that we've already been through, was bail. How do you feel about the cashless bail system?
Well, the G check is free Puff. They didn't want to give him a bail, and for the little charges that they gave him, why this man can't be out and fighting from the outside? Why? You got so many dudes running around out here that got worse charges than this man got bail, still doing dumb stuff. But it's, once again, it's a hate thing towards us. If he was somebody else lighter than me, he would have been had a bail. It would have been made excuses.
So do you believe in a cashless bail system? In situations like Puff, they're never going to let them go. Well, I can't say that because they have let other people go as a result of that. But and as the black man, they're going to find a way to hold you if they can.
Oh, they do. They do that no matter if he did sign the bill. They still hold us. They still give us the most time. You got the other people doing the same exact crimes we doing, but we gonna get elephant numbers and they get ants numbers.
Okay, so how do we change
it? It can't be changed because guess what? We got a crash dummy in the White House.
And
that's a G check.
That's a G check, but I still believe in President Trump and President Trump making the right moves for all Americans and all citizens of America. I think he's just a little sidetracked right now, but I do believe. And he also said no flag burning in the United States of America. So if you burn a flag in the United States of America as of right now, you will get a year in jail as per President Trump's, not the auto pen.
Let me G-check this. You worried about a flag, a piece of material You worrying about that, but you're not worrying about these kids that you trying to. And when I say kids, I'm talking about the younger kids down the line. But you worrying about a flag, and you not worrying about their education, they finance, they
Well,
parents.
this should be their parents. So we're going to take a break really quick. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. Hold that thought and hold that perspective and hold that G check, because we'll be right back with the New American Perspective and your G check here on Millennium News 24 this Power Wednesday. We'll be right back. And we are back with your New American Perspective and your G Check for today. And we're just talking about Trump and how we feel that he's being a little aggressive out here, and making orders that don't count. So we're talking about him saying that you get a year from burning flag. Dr. G Check over here says, listen, why are you even focused on that when we've got so much other stuff and you're trying to take food out of people's mouths? And so let me ask you a question. And looking from the Black community, you don't think that the Black community needs to get out its own way at this point and start getting back to really being a force in America? And I sometimes I think that the tactics are harsh, but I think that it takes harsh tactics to get it done, and especially if you want to fast track it. I think that we slow ourselves down by saying, oh my God, he's going to take the food away. Okay, we know how to get food. We know how to bring this home. We know how to survive. And so I just feel like, yes, our communities need to clean up, and some people need to get out of the way.
Let me G check that. The community need to get out the way. They've been put us out the way. They've been. So I don't know where you keep feeling that we need to get out the way. We need to.
Of
It's it's
ourselves,
it's
and
it's
so we
it's
can
it's
step up
it's
and be a
it's
part of this country.
it's people that is out the way. But at the end of the day, it's always you put a virus. You always put a virus in every community. And when the virus start virusing, they want to destroy your community. You understand? So it don't matter what we do right now, because guess what? You got, and if you look at it, excuse my language, and I'm not going to curse, you got 666, you got KKK, and you got Hitler in one. They trying to destroy us, really. So at the end of the day, it's not get out the way. We got to stay in the way. But what we need to do as a community is stop hating on one another and stop talking about one another. And we got to start working together and stop being a snake towards. Because you got to remember, in every 10 people is black or brown, you got 3 robots in there. You might have 4 or 5 robots in there. 6, you might have 6 agents in there, black agents and brown agents, going to report back to the master what's going on. So basically, people got to learn to keep their mouth shut. You can't trust everybody, because everybody that look like you ain't you. Everybody talk like you ain't you. So you gotta remember, a lot of these dudes out here you think is black power, brown power. Nah, they working for the government. G check.
I guess that's a pure G check, ladies and gentlemen, from Dr. Butler here, and I understand what you're saying about the people in the community, and I understand what you're saying about, what we've already done to move the needle forward. But we've got complacent at that point too. And I cannot give up with stop pushing against it because we're smart enough. We have survived this long in this country and thrived in this country without all of the things that we need. And now we just need to translate that to the younger people and give them a pathway to success and clear the pathway for them. And, I understand that, people are going to fight against us. I don't think that people are going to stop fighting against us at this point. I think that people of color from all over the land, which is the majority in this land, people of color are highly creative, highly intelligent, high IQ people, as Donald Trump would say that you're not high IQ people, but we are. So where do we go from there? You have our guy, Abrio Garcia, the young man that was deported and sent to El Salvador, so he's back in the United States. He's now with his family, but they're saying he's getting out of here. He's being deported. And so when we talk about everything that we've gone through in this country, how should we be feeling about the immigrant community, right, that is now suffering and from their choices? And I believe that they are suffering from their choices to come to America and decide to put their family into it. I mean, I think it was a great shot at it because the Democratic regime beforehand, what's the guy's name? the Democratic machine beforehand, Biden and Harris, they welcomed the community. And now should we now say, well, you broke the law then. Can we break the law? We can't even sell cigarettes to break the law, let alone come across another country, get on the system, and now start draining the system that we still need to move forward. So is it right for this man now to be sent back? And they said he might be sent to Uganda, which I don't think that he is from Uganda, but he is with his family. They said, look, you could take your Tom Holman said, look, you could take your family with you, but you're not staying in the United States. You're a trafficker. You have broken the law. You have had domestic violence. You gotta go.
So let's see, check this. How about the American trafficking people from other countries, that what they got going on in their country, but we trafficate them back to American jail? Come on. It can't, listen, one thing, America, love it, but it can't be one way. And that's the way we've been living our whole life. One way. One way. We do all the dumb stuff in the world, but we blame everybody else. And I feel, as got a young kid, and I was a young kid once upon a time, and the war was going on, I tell him in a minute, I'm like Muhammad Ali. I'm not fighting no war for nobody in America. Send your kids. Put your kids, your wife, your homies, your grandkids, put them on the front line. Every dude is in Congress, the governor, the mayor, put your kids on the front line. And this network, we global. And I'm going to say this. Global, around the world. You got to remember, when y'all do what y'all do, get angry, whatever, remember, it's not us that creating these problems. Always remember, it's the other people. So when they traveling into your world, whatever, you shouldn't be aggressive because we from America. They treat us like they treat y'all. So always keep this in mind. If you feel away, it's not us. It's them. That's a G check.
That's definitely a G check. And then at this point, we have to look at how we can play this new game in America and not get smashed, because I believe that there's still room for us in America. I believe that the American dream can live and be alive in America. I believe it, because I am part of the American dream. I'm living the American dream. So now, can others get in the American dream way of life and others transpire? Yes, but there is a way to do it. You can't just freeball at this. You can't just go at this and say, well, I'm just going to go out here and America better pay me for everything.
But listen, G-Check, America is falling. Let me say that. You never had American dream because you're still struggling. So it's America, the American dream. The American dream is for somebody else that don't look like us. And I'm not saying a UFO or whatever. I'm just saying American dream is not for us. It's not for us. We so afraid to say it. It's not for us. America ain't America when we was kids. We was growing up. We was struggling, but we still was making it. But right now, this era, America ain't what it is no more. That's
Well,
a G-check.
listen, that's a
That's a
G-check.
G-check.
And we've got to hope. Again, we're here in America, so we don't have a choice but to make the best out of America because we're here in America. So it doesn't make any sense.
We do have a choice.
Okay,
That's a
doesn't make
G-check.
sense to burn flags, okay? Don't go out burning your flag in America because you will get a year in jail for burning an American flag. You could be in another country burning an American flag, but don't burn it here because we're about that life.
But real talk, people, y'all ain't got to burn the flag. You could flush that shit down the toilet because it ain't nothing but shit.
I think you would still get in trouble.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
How you gonna get in trouble when you flush the toilet, a flag down the toilet? Who they got they got somebody monetizing it? How many shits go down the toilet?
In the sewer, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There's an American flag in the sewer. It came from Dr. Butler's house. Go get them. You got a year. But okay. So there's so much more to talk about. We've got Cardi B. She's in court. This is her second or third day in court today. I think it's her third day in court today. And she's in court over allegedly smacking a security guard at an OBGYN, getting into it. So Cardi had her little feet. She's going through it. Allegedly, people are saying that she might be pregnant with Stephon Diggs's baby as well. So Cardi is on the move. She's separated from her husband Offset. I believe she has 3 kids as is, and maybe one on the way. We shall see. But they had thrown Cardi into the political realm as well and tried to get her to speak well of it. And that's where we have to be careful, because anybody can't just step up and give their political views and expect people to follow them as such. But Cardi in the news, she's talking, and she's a hostile witness, and she's talking about how she's pleading not guilty, and how she did not smack security guard. And
well, let me G-check this, man. Shout out to Cardi B. BX in the building. Let me say this. Security guards out here, police officers out here, as soon as they get that title, that gun, that badge, they become aggressive towards people. That's why back in the days, you go to a club, you leave home happy. You're happy Gilmore. You're happy. By the time you get off that, get on that line to go into the club, by the time you get to the security pissing you off, harassing you. So by the time you get in the club, you're already pissed off. So security's out here, they really disrespectful. They no different than some of these officers out here. They no different than some of the CEOs out here. They no different than the police officers out here. You got good and you got bad, and you got all rights. But at the end of the day, people target you because who you are. If Cardi B wasn't that rapper, she went in there, she wouldn't be going to court because she smacked this clown dude that started, and she did the right thing, smacked him. Because there's a bunch of them out here, huh?
It was a female.
It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. Female officers, female securities, they rude and disrespectful to people. So it ain't if she wasn't Cardi B, they probably would have fought and they would have left that. What it is, Cardi B is who she is. They want to destroy and take what they gave her. That's why I tell y'all people out here, when y'all get this money, your entertainers, please don't give it back to the same people that give it to you. That's what they do. Let's feed them. Now let's take it back.
Yep.
That's a G check.
That's a G check. And so we'll be right back here on the New American Perspective with your G check with Jineea Butler and AB Butler here on Millennium News 24. We'll be right back.
How's your new office?
Good.
Yeah.
So, as President Trump said, we're back on the New American Perspective with your G check. And so President Trump said that the next city under the National Guard is Chicago. Now, I have spent a lot of time in Chicago with Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and the Rainbow Push Coalition. And I've also watched how Chicago has always been a town hailing from Johnny Torrio and Al Capone back in the day to where it's always been a crime-ridden city. Now, Donald Trump says that he's going to send in the National Guard, and the mayor, Brandon, said, no, you're not. We don't need you. How are we saying when our kids and our people are getting killed every day, allegedly by one another, that we don't want to clean it up? And in Chicago, they say, listen, allegedly that this might be the police that are shooting people in Chicago and making those numbers go up as well. So we've got a real look when we look at stuff like this. What is really happening? Is this happening in Chicago? How are we going to take it? So now Trump is threatening to send the National Guard there in Chicago because they've got a few numbers in Washington, D.C. I'm not really impressed with the numbers in Washington, D.C. They're saying, oh, they got a drug lord and da-da-da. And basically, they're just closing in on cases that they've already been open. But now we're talking about Chicago. We're talking about land of the gangster disciples. We're talking about the land of a lot of turmoil going on. And we cannot front when it comes to these issues.
Yo, this is a G check. Why? Why every time that y'all lock somebody up or somebody get shot or somebody get killed, the first thing y'all do, and we news reporters, yes we are, but you don't hear us saying, oh, he had a record. Why y'all don't say when the kid ate his whole family up, shot his whole family, he had a record? We don't hear that. We don't, like, at the end of the day, let's be honest, we don't get justice. We always get stabbed at. Because it don't matter if a person had a record, what do? That don't got nothing to do with the crime he committed. He already paid for his record. He already paid for his crime. So at the end of the day, if a man going to commit a crime, he ain't committing it because he had a record before. It sounds crazy.
But here's the thing. if this man feels as though that he cannot walk down the street without carrying a firearm, without shooting up a barbecue, without doing all these things, do we not need to put some people in there to stop that? I would argue that Chicago definitely needs some help, because it is not right for these young kids to continue to die. And we sit around and say, oh, that is too bad. Those kids do not have to die. In most of these neighborhoods that you're talking about and that you're referring to, their children are not dying. Our children are dying, and that is the G check.
This is a G check on that. Let me say this. You know why the young kids is dying? Let me say this. This go out to the mothers and the fathers and the president, the governor, the mayor, this and that. When these parents got to stay at work to survive for crumbs and don't have time to take care of their kids because the rent going up, the tolls going up, the trains going up, they forcing Black families to go work, and not pay attention to their kids.
Okay.
It don't start. It start from, they always say the father ain't there because guess what? They already had the rule, let's lock the father up. We're going to break the household up, right? You got the mother raising the kids, right? So now the mother working, running, the kid is home doing what he want to do. Now, let's be, you know what I mean? Let's be real on it. This is a G chat. So the problem become the shoots, the guns, the knives. This is where the problem come, and we don't talk about it, right? The problem is your daughter, first of all, because your daughter out here because her man got a S on his chest, turn around walking down the block, she go put that come and get me outfit on, dude say something, hey, you look nice, oh, don't say nothing, I'll go get my man to do this, and they put their brother, they put their man, they put their father, they put their uncle under the gun. When they go out here with that nasty attitude, thinking they could talk to a grown man disrespectful, then when a man do what he do, walk away, he do what he do. Now you put so many other family members involved. We don't talk about this. This is a G check. Then you got parents out here thinking that their kids is goody good two shoe. Ride on a train or walk down the block, and you talking about your kid is so of a goody good two shoe, and you hear them calling you all disrespectful name, and you gotta remember, everybody out here is not here to babysit your kid and not gonna let your kid disrespect them. It don't matter, it's a little guy or a woman, a little woman, because both of them is so disrespectful. So now you turn on channel 7, 5, or whatever, 2, 4, 11, whatever channel, your kid is in the alley, not breathing, and then you say your kid was an angel. But really, a G check, your kid is not an angel. Your kid is disrespectful, especially when it's more than 3 or 4 of them. They be disrespectful out here. So you got to remember this, people. Your kid you might say your kid is the best kid in the world, or your kid ain't do this. When your kid ain't in your face, ain't around you, them little kids is rude and disrespectful to grown people. So you got to remember this. If you want your kid to be respectful, treat them respect. Treat them respect when they with their little friends to think for themselves. We don't see this. Only thing we see is a body on the ground. We don't know what happened. The little girls out here, the grown women out here, put these guys, put the battery in their back, and now they go to jail for life. They still here out here doing it to the next man or the woman doing it to it's a lot going on out here that we don't talk about. And that's a G check.
Well, that is a G check, and this is what we're talking about. This is why we have this perspective, and this is why we're here on this show on Millennium News 24, because this is the place to put those perspectives in the air and think about it. Yeah, now you're getting into the fact that the family structure, is very important when it comes to all of this. Where are we going with this? So something has to happen. My take is that we don't have to be at the bottom of the barrel. My vision is for our kids to be the smartest in the world. Our kids to love smarts like they love the streets, and I believe that we can do that. And I agree with you. I believe that the parents need to be let it up. But where's the money coming from? So now we got to push for the trickle down effect. Now we've got to get involved. And so this is why I argue that most of our time should be spent on economic development, and most of our time should be spent on putting everything in its perspective clearly, and a clear focus on economic development, looking at how we can get people more money. And that's what Trump is saying essentially with the tax bill, so-called tax bill. And when we come back from a break, well, we've got a couple more minutes before the break, but when we come back, we'll talk about what's in that tax bill that we can sink our teeth into, that we can make it make sense for us, because I think that we wait for the black agenda. We wait for everything that's supposed to happen for us.
Let's G-check this. Let me G-check this real quick, right? You say it's a new bill, tax bill, and you say we need to see how we could put ourselves in there. We shouldn't have to do that, because once again, this is your word. G-check, your word. We need to go out and vote, and this and that. And this is why I say we need to hold these Congress, these senators, these people that we put in office accountable. If they don't do what they say they're going to do, lock their ass up.
That's a G check. And I've always liked that thought about it, but we also have to focus on our communities. Our kids, you can't say that our kids can't do better. You can't say that our kids can't grow better. You can't say that even we've done more with less over the time. Now we have to do it again. And that's the real problem. That's the G check. And that's where we got to check their G, and we've got to check President Trump's G, because you got to make sure that we're good. The assistant to the president, Lynn Patton, she says, oh, she's got jobs coming out. I haven't personally heard from her, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this next agenda is that plays the part. But I argue that we need economic money and investment capital to build infrastructure in these communities that represent the people, and let the people hire the people, so it'll work out for each other.
I guess that's a G check.
Very much so. So what we'll do is we'll go to a break, and when we come right back, we will talk about, for our last 15 minutes, what we need to do in the next week, in the next months, in the next 4 years, right? How we have to decide for ourselves which way we're going. We have to decide who's the mayor is. The midterm elections are coming up, and then we also have to talk about what President Trump is doing with China and Attorney General Letitia James in New York. So we will be right
Letitia James, keep fighting. That's a G check. Keep fighting.
We will be right back with
I got your back.
Perspective We'll be right back with your New American Perspective and your G-Check here on Millennium News 24. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you after the break.
As you
And we are back here on Millennium News 24 with your New American Perspective and your G-Check. You are here with Jineea Butler and
AB Butler.
Back in the Game Entertainment. And we are talking about everything United States, everything international, everything the world, everything President Trump, everything political, everything New York. So again, New York, if you have not registered to vote, don't listen to this cat over here. Don't listen to this cat over here about not registering to vote. Go out and register to vote so you could be in this. We need real numbers. I don't know who you want to vote for in New York. I'm about sick and through with New York at this point, but we've got Governor Cuomo, you've got Mamdani, you've got
Mamdani.
Look, see, here he goes. You got Curtis Sewa and you got Mayor Eric Adams trailing.
Adams.
Now you still have Curtis Sewa, who he has taken off his beret, by the way. So everybody that was mad at the guardian angel, who's also the mayor candidate, Curtis Sewa for the Republican Party, has taken off his beret and has been sitting down with folks and talking to them, and they see his head for the first time. Apparently, that is very important to people, is seeing your head. Remember, LL Cool J, he didn't let you see his head for a long time. James Todd did not let us see his head because he felt some type of way about it, and then he got it shrunk or something, but he's okay with it now. So Curtis, he's got his beret off. But we know that he's a guardian angel. I always love the fact that he walked the streets of New York and talked the talk and walked the walk, got stabbed up a couple times, trying to fight crime in New York, a real crime fighter. I'm a Republican, GOP. Mayor Adams, he's polling at 8%. They really did a job on him. Now they're talking about his counterparts who went to jail. And
that's a catch-22 right there. You know what I mean?
What they did. Oh my God, such a G-check. They took roles on the Godfather part of the Godfather series that's on Epix. They took
Shout out Marquand.
Shout out Marquand. He got the mayor's office in trouble because people from the mayor's office took roles to be in the film in exchange for quid pro quos. So that is highly deep and highly crazy out here in these streets. And so Mayor Adams, I don't think he's going to make it this time around. He is standing strong and very hopeful.
He's going to make it. He's going to make it.
He's at 8%. The other guy's at 44%. How do you make up those numbers? I believe that Mamdani is going to win in New York unless they do a George Bush in Florida and they start flipping.
Let's recheck. Not a George Bush. Let's do a Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Don't Donald. I mean, homeboy bingo. Let's talk about the new one in the office right now. Let's talk about that. Say they're gonna do one of his numbers.
Yeah, they might.
Exactly.
They might. Well, they're going to do something because they really don't.
They're going to do a Donald Trump and Elon Musk. She don't want to say it. I'm going to say it.
They really don't want the Muslim man.
Why? Why not? Why not? Why not? I'm just trying to figure out, because he's Muslim.
Don't believe that.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. But why?
They don't believe that he can lead. I might have to plug up. That's why I'm going a little slow. But they don't think that he can lead. They don't think the Muslim man can lead. I don't think that it's right. But that's what's absolutely.
Oh, but they thought G-check. They thought Donald Trump could lead, huh? They thought he could lead, and look what they got.
Yeah, I'm still here. I just
I know you're still here.
they thought that he could lead, and he's leading. You know,
Really? Really?
he may not be doing exactly what we want him to do, but he is doing stuff. Now, let me say, now he made a deal with the Chinese on the tariffs for 25% of the Chinese. So Chinese can bring their stuff over 25% on the tariffs. But there's like a bunch of Chinese kids that are going to be coming into America as a result of this particular deal that he's on. Sorry, I'm trying to plug in. That they're going to be thousands of kids. I think 3,000 Chinese kids get to come over as exchange students in the process.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
See, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we got a problem on hating on human beings. That's what the problem is, people. We got to get back to loving human beings, not your color, your age, where you come from, whatever. We all human beings. That's a G check.
That's a G check, and that's a fact. And, you know, there's a lot of things that we have to do, you know, and I just think that when you are the ringleader in chief, you know, people are not going to like all your moves. People are not going to like the things that you're doing. You're not going to be like, you know, I know when I head up, I used to be the director of career development for the Doe Fund in New York City, over New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. And people didn't like me because I had to make the tough decisions. Whereas though that we've got numbers and we've got a quota, how do we make those numbers and how do we make that quota if we don't make those moves? Now, people don't like change. People don't like to move around. People don't like stuff to happen, but numbers got to make sense and you've got to make those things happen. So how do you do it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I see G check. I see why they didn't like you.
Yeah, that's okay.
I see why.
But
It's a G check. It's all is about numbers. You know what I mean? It's plenty of numbers in the world. That's all it's about, numbers. It's not. We got to get back to respecting one another, not worrying about numbers. Numbers is in respect. There's no more respect in numbers. They lost the respect in numbers.
Yeah, because the numbers don't have emotions. The numbers don't have feelings.
It's not. It's not emotionals. It's not feelings. It's
done. Once it's done, it's done. You won't. You know, you don't look back at the hard stuff and say once it's done. You know, we worked on working on preserving hip hop and getting hip hop back to its present state. And it wasn't nice and it wasn't pretty, but it happened and everybody's happy about it now. But somebody had to crack the whip.
Let me say this. G check. Let me say this. Everybody think what they did for hip hop. Hip hop did for itself. Hip hop is a global around the world. So people really think they really help hip hop, but hip hop helped a lot of people.
Of course, it did.
Okay.
The world.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean? People think they did. So everybody, this is what the problem is. I realize everybody got a title. Everybody was this and that. You know, I was just on a conversation about that. You know, people want to be you. Everybody can't be Bo Jackson. Everybody can't be Michael Jordan. Everybody can't be Larry Bird. You know, the list go on and on. Everybody can't be Derek Jeter. But everybody want to be. But it got to come from respecting. It don't matter. What the problem is on numbers, we step on people. We could get numbers without stepping on people.
Stepped on.
Say what?
People feel like they're being stepped on.
It don't feel like it. They show it every day. Look, they show you every day. It ain't how they feel. It happens every day. People get stepped on. Of course, they got to get the numbers.
Well, it's a
That's
harsh
a G
reality.
check.
It's a G
Well,
check.
well, there you go. So
Yeah.
everything you say about Chicago, DC, New York, when it comes to certain things, it is what it is.
When are we going to say yes? Our community can be clean. Yes, there doesn't have to be shootings. Yes, that our kids don't have
You
to get.
don't hold
You
up, hold
don't
up.
have
G
stuff.
check.
When are we going to say?
You don't think they don't be shooting in the suburbs? But
No,
guess what they
they
do?
don't.
No, let me G check you on this.
Do not.
It be shootings, killings in the suburbs where Becky and all them live, but they got the money to clear it up, clean it up. You get where I'm coming from?
No, no.
Okay, well, there you
Not
go. You
the,
one of them. You
the
one of them. Okay.
them. The numbers do not say that. And so what I'm saying
Who
is
make the first of all, G check, who make the numbers? Who say the numbers?
who makes the numbers? We make the numbers because we're the ones that the bodies are piling up. The bodies are piling up and our numbers are not good. And that's all I think that we should be focused on. I don't even think that we should be focused on somebody else's community. I think that we should be focused on our community and keep
No.
it safe from this National Guard that we know that's coming into these communities. We know what's going to happen. We know that our kids need to pull their pants up and get their act together. We know this, but we don't want to say it. Why don't we want to say it? Why is there always an elephant in the room when it comes to this?
Hold up. G check. I put something on my page about the pants sagging. Listen, I did that time. You couldn't say you would never catch me sagging. And it's like, okay. And I tell females, I said, you want a man to be looking at your man butt, but you know what I mean? Can't pay attention to yours because your man butt all out. So you as a woman, first of all, another man shouldn't have to tell another man, yo, homie, pull your pants up. But you got all these women walking around with these clowns with their pants down, and y'all cool with that because no. Let me finish. Y'all cool with that because he got that kind of paper, so y'all good with that. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of females I see, and I'll be like, yo, boo, how you walk around your man pants sagging? Do you think that looks sexy with y'all?
My point here is that
G check.
You could call it a G check. It's a G check. And what I'm saying to you is that's not what women want, but women don't know how to lead what's going on. We have to change our trajectory. And this all goes back to the change. How do we change these things if we're not willing to change? Oh, we want them to change in certain areas, but they can keep killing each other and they can keep doing all this stuff that makes no sense. And they want to live, they want to survive. Yes, the conditions need to get better, but we need to make them better.
This is a G check. Put this in the remix. Here we go. Here I go. Of course, at the end of the day, boo, we all leaders. But some of the leaders is greedy, selfish, petty. We don't know. Like I tell people, you can't say what goes on unless you were standing next to that dude to say what was going on. Once again, we don't know these police out here putting these numbers up and getting away because they can't find who did this because they know how to clean it up. So you got a lot of officers. You got to remember this now. You got to remember this. Growing up, you was Jineea Butler. I was A.B. Butler. But everybody wasn't that. Then you had the ones who was getting bullied. You got the ones that was overweight, teased all the time. Now they become an officer, a DEA agent, an FBI agent. and they see a name, you don't think they want that get back? So, and I say this because people always ask me, hey, you cool, you was cool with Puff. Yeah, Puff, my man. But I tell him in a minute, I've been to plenty of his parties. But I can't say what y'all say and what y'all seen. So if y'all seen that, y'all was a part of that. So if I didn't see that, I'm not gonna want, because I want credit. I want to be this guy. I want to be that guy. I'm not gonna sit there and tell nobody no lie because I wasn't there. So at the end of the day, we don't know who putting these numbers up with these bodies out here, these dirty cops, these dirty DEA agents, these
All right,
dirty
well,
FBI agents.
well, then
What?
let's get to the bottom of it then.
The
Okay,
bottom is,
who's
the
doing
bottom
it?
is you can't get the bottom because guess what? Every block got a camera. Who control the cameras? The government.
And
The
that's why
G.
we got, and
The
that's
G
why we
check.
got to be back
The
in there.
G.
So that is our show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. That's your new American perspective and your G check for this week. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope to see you next week. And tap in and let us know how we did on the comments. And we'll see you next week here on Millennium News.
And tell her congratulations to her new office. Yeah.
You'll get
Exactly.
hit. You'll get
Exactly. Exactly. I don't need to get there.
hit. You don't need nothing. So we'll be back with you next week, ladies and gentlemen, with your G check. And that's a G check.
A G check. That is a G check. Yeah. Yeah.